ahead and begin. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the iZigg webinar training series. Today, we're really excited to talk about automated workflows. And not sure what you think an automated campaign or an automated workflow is, but we're going to talk about it, make sure that everybody understands a little bit more about it and how it could possibly affect some of your messaging campaigns and some of the ideas that you may have for your own companies and your own outreach as well. So what we generally do with automated workflows is you're going to create a messaging path that's going to be based on either current data that you have on your subscribers or how your subscribers are responding to real-time prompts. So this could be a question that you are asking them. It could be the trigger may be a keyword that then goes to certain questions, and then your subscribers will have responses. And then your outreach from there can be triggered based on how they responded. So I have a couple examples that we are going to go through here once we enter into the system. So when we talk about automated workflows, I think there are some things that we need to talk about before we get started. So what is the setup here? So like anything that is automated, you need to know what those steps are beforehand. So who are you trying to reach? Are you in HR and you're trying to reach out to prospects, to your current employee list? Are you a retail opportunity and you're trying to reach out for maybe events or to learn more about your audience, your customers and your subscribers so that you can tailor your messages? And what is the goal of that campaign? Are you trying to get a message to a very subset group of people? Are you trying to interest them in something a little bit different or something new that you have? And the most important thing is to whiteboard it out. So as you can imagine, so many things are possible with a workflow. Some can be very simple and some can be more intricate. So if I were just starting to design a workflow, I may just start with maybe I want to create a keyword for jobs and I'm going to post my positions. So if somebody has, come by, maybe I'm at a fair or I'm at a job fair or talking to somebody or they're on our website, and I may say, hey, if you're interested, text jobs to my code. And then you want to type out or kind of scope out what that may look like. So after they text in, I might want to send them something that says, hey, are you interested in a part-time or full-time position? If they respond for full-time, they're going to go to a certain list, and then you're going to send them another message that may say, hey, great, please see our full-time openings and post a resume. So that's an example of something that is very simple. You can then take that a step further, and let's talk about the next example, which we're going to create these workflows together, but I wanted to give you an example that you will need to go in and create your keywords first, or maybe create lists that you would like some of the subscribers to be filtered through. So you need to know what you're doing before you start. So for events, maybe I am in a company and I offer events. I'm a pub or a bar and grill, and some nights I have music, live music, maybe other nights I have comedy, or maybe I have trivia. So I want them to text events, but I'm going to have a link to an event schedule there. And think about it. If I can then reach out to anybody that I know has clicked that link and then fine tune my message from there. So I can create a workflow where I tell the system to say, hey, anybody that has clicked on that link within the text that I sent out, let's throw them in a list and then let's ask them more detailed questions. Are you interested in music? And then I'm going to send info for music, maybe something cool that I have coming up, or maybe subscribe them to just my, what bands I have coming up. Same for comedy and same for games. So there are just many ways within the system that you can use triggered actions to generate your workflow. So let's go ahead and dive right in if we can. So from your dashboard, here. I'm just at my dashboard. I have it set to default to my inbox, which I'm sure all of you know how to do already. So it's something that's really valuable. So if I do have people opting in and asking questions, I can see those immediately. But all of this should look pretty familiar by now. You know, you have your manage tab where you have all of your contacts, and your collect where you have your keywords, and then you're sending messages, and you may or may not have entered into the engage option. So you're going to see auto campaigns, and this is what we are going to work with here. So I'm going to select automated campaigns. And as you can see, I have a couple here that I have started. I did one where I wanted to find the age of somebody. So let's say that I had a wine company, or I was a bar and I was selling online. There are certain compliance issues. So I had created one for asking if they were 18 or older, respond with their birth date, and then I was able to send them more information. You can think about product information, kicking off a question. But the two that we're going to kind of work with and finish today are going to be the job interest and events. So I saved this as a draft, as you can see. So let's go ahead and start one if we could. So I'm going to kind of show you what I have so far so you understand what it may look like. So if I want to go into my auto campaign, what I did was I created just the name of this. This is for my eyes only. This is my job interest campaign. So I know that I'm trying to get interest and funnel people through different positions. You can select a duration. So your duration may be a fixed period. So this could be that I only want this to run for the month of April or May, or it can be unlimited. So I'm going to start it, and then I'm going to be the one that decides when it ends or if it ends here. And then this is just kind of for our purposes. What is your purpose for this? Are you trying to nurture leads? Are you trying to increase traffic? So it's just, what are you trying to do with this particular campaign? Really means nothing for the actual actions that you're going to take. Here is an interesting part as well. So if you wanted a template, there are kind of some predefined templates in here. So if I was only trying to send messages to those that had birthdays, I have a birthday template, maybe a coupon reminder or a drip campaign. So there are some in here that are preformed that you could choose from, but it's always more fun to, I think out of the box. So we're going to go ahead and cancel that. I just wanted you to be aware that that's exactly what that was. And then there are auto campaign reentry. So this is really allowing you to define what's going to happen if somebody tries again. So this auto campaign can only trigger once per contact, and that's going to be the most streamlined. You're going to save message credits if somebody else is if they're trying to do it again and again and again. Anytime a message leaves the system, remember you are debited one message credit. So, and then you can re-trigger only if they have progressed through the entire campaign, or this auto campaign can trigger at any time, even if it's not completed. For our testing purposes, we're going to select that one. So it's really just more relevant to what type of campaign that you have. And then we have our flow chart. So this is where we are creating our workflow, defining exactly what the actions are, and if there are any intermediaries, like I need to pause for a moment, or I need to check and see if something has happened before the next action is triggered. So it all starts with a triggering event here. So as you can see, let's go ahead and edit my triggering event. What I did here was I want anybody that enters a distribution list, and I want to go ahead and trigger this auto campaign to start. So for this one, this is my job interest one. So I do have a keyword called jobs. So if somebody opts into my jobs keyword, they're automatically going to go to this distribution list. As soon as they hit this list, I want to go ahead and start defining what's going to happen next. So here I know that I'm going to put in my jobs. I think I already have this selected here. So let's go ahead, let me just throw one over here. So I can include all the contacts that are currently in that list if I wanted to, or I can start from this point on. So if you're creating a new campaign, I would not choose that. If you're starting a campaign and you want to include everybody that's already in that list, not a problem at all. So I went ahead and now I have my triggering event. Somebody enters my list. That's going to start off what happens next. So now I'm going to decide, what do I want to do now? Now I want to ask them a question. So they've opted in. So now I want to, let's say I want to ask a question, or I could even add them to a different distribution list. I can send them a quick message. I can remove them altogether. So what we're doing here is we're deciding, what do we want to do next once everybody has hit that particular distribution list. And for here, I'm asking a multiple choice question. So for here, what I'm doing, when I've already done this, so here is my multiple choice question. So this is going to be, are you full-time or part-time? I know that it's going to be multiple choice, but if I just wanted a yes or no, or I wanted to ask an open-ended question, there are a lot of options here. So you should never feel that you're backed into a corner where you cannot do something that you want to. If you run into an issue, our experts are, of course, here to help you. So for here, I want to ask a multiple choice question. It's then going to say, how long do you want to wait for responses before moving on to the next action? So I'm going to put 24 hours. And all that means is that I'm going to wait, somebody texts in jobs, I'm going to ask them this question, and then we're going to wait 24 hours to go on to the next one if they have not answered that. So I'm going to go ahead and continue. And this is where I'm defining what my question is. So here I said, are you interested in a full or part-time position? My options are full-time and part-time. I can add these, I can edit them, I can move them if I want to for different placement in the actual text message. So you can see they're going to receive this message. Are you interested in a full-time or part-time position? Please reply with 1 for full-time and 2 for part-time. So I've defined what my question is. From here, it's going to go on to what happens next. So from here, what I want to do is I want to segment them. So I know I'm going to add this person to a distribution list. So that was my next action. Somebody responded with full-time. I'm going to add them to a distribution list that is only holding my people that are interested in full-time. The same thing for part-time. So from here, I'm going to have lists for everybody that comes in through this flow chart. So if I wanted to select what's next here, I'm going to add them to a distribution list. And here's where you do have to have your distribution list already defined. So here I had created part-time. I'm going to add them to my part-time list. And I've completed this, so you can see that it is turned to green. I can do the same thing with if their answer is invalid. So let's say that they responded with a 4 or a 5. I can select to actually send them a message. So I can say maybe your response is invalid. And then I could select to say, hey, your response is invalid. Let's try this again. I can then loop them in from the actual start of this particular campaign. And if they didn't answer in time, you can have a selection for this also. For this one, I'm just going to select end it. And for each option, you need to either continue or end the flow. So we've started with, I have my triggering event. They've entered my list. After they've texted jobs to my code, I am then asking them a question if they were interested in full or part-time employment. Once they've responded, I'm putting them into a separate list so I know who they are. And then I want to automatically send them a message. So once they've responded, I'm going to go ahead and send them a message. And here's where I defined that message. Your description is just, as you see here, what it's gonna kind of show you what topic your message is. So I'm not going to put the message here, but I'm going to give a brief description here. So from here, you can see I've said, thank you. Please go to this site and see our open positions for full-time and post your resume. I've given the actual link. I can insert a picture, or even if I want a particular video, and I'm going to hit OK. So I've created a very short funnel here, and my next action, I could go on and do some follow-up, or I can simply select end, and that's going to end my campaign for the full time. I can do the same thing for my part-time here, or their answer is invalid. I can decide exactly what I want to send to them. So why don't we start and do one together? And checking your loops are just going to make sure that you've ended every single action, that you've brought it to a conclusion for the loop. So I'm going to close my full screen. So I hope as you are watching us go through this, that you're actually thinking of different options that you can have. Think of your company and how you would want to create a workflow to not only engage your customers, but to also give them messaging that is relevant to drive participation as well. So I'm actually going to go back and let's go ahead and create. And while I'm doing this, Jeff, I don't want to put you on the spot, but if you wanted to, I don't know if you have some examples or a few words that you wanted to say. You've worked with so many of our clients for so many years. I know that you were really excited about this particular feature. So while I'm going through and creating, if you just want to say a word.
Yeah, I think it's really exciting to basically enable smart messaging for any brand. Being able to collect data and segment your data is really important today to reach people for different needs, different promotions, or whatever it might be. So yeah, I'm really excited to be able to put this feature out there.
Awesome. So let's create one together if we can. So this one is going to do. This is my events. One. What type? I am going to do this for an unlimited period, although we did talk about you could do one for a fixed period as well. What is my purpose of the campaign? Maybe I want to increase traffic for this. I'm going to go and select that I want everybody to be able to do this multiple times, but remember that each time that they do it, a message is sent from the system. It will cost you a credit. So we don't want you to use any credits that you don't have to. So be very, very thoughtful as you're creating those. So let's go ahead and get started and select a triggering event. So what this is doing is it's saying these are all the events, all the triggers that we have available to us. So you can imagine if you have custom data, and we did do a webinar about custom data, and this is where you're collecting more information, or perhaps you already have that information in the system. So if I wanted to create a quick workflow for sending everybody a birthday message in their birthday month, I can do that. Or to send them out a coupon for a particular anniversary, we could do that. Anytime somebody goes into a distribution list. This is a really good one if you want to talk about customer service as the inbound message. So let's say that somebody has selected to respond to one of the messages that you've already sent, and they have an inbound message. It could be an opportunity to further the conversation or to find out if they have a customer service issue. So you could create a workflow just for customer service, and it's triggered the inbound message that you get in your inbox. So I hope generating some ideas. Some of the more common ones are obviously your keyword signups. If you have any type of sign up page, you sent a message, you can create surveys, voting campaigns. So as you, the list is very long here. And if anything is confusing or you want to learn more about, always contact us. But for our purposes, the one I think is really kind of cool is I want to base it if somebody has already clicked on a link. So if I've used our dedicated URL at anything and somebody's clicked on it, there's interest there. To me, that's a hot lead, so to speak. And even though I'm not a salesperson, it's a hot lead and I want to follow up on them. So I really am interested to knowing who has done that. So I'm going to select the tracking, and this is going to say, hey, what feature was this tracking link located in? And for me, it was in a keyword sign up, but it could have also been in a sent message. So think about a message that maybe you've sent in the last 2 weeks that had a link in it, right? So I want to then just automatically follow up with anybody that's clicked that link, and that's going to be my triggering action. For us, we're just going to do a keyword sign up. It is then going to give you the option for any keyword that you have created where you've used our embedded URL. So you do have to use our URL. So that's another reason to use the iZigg URL shortener, is because we can then use it for so many other features. And I know people like to have their website out there, and that's great, but think of what more you can do by using that embedded link. This is just one of those things. So I did put a link in our events keyword. So that's what I want to start to trigger. So for here, this was in auto response. And if I had several links, I could then, fine tune this even more. I only want to include the contacts that clicked on the one link. If I had several links, I could then define that even more. If I want to include all the contacts who have previously clicked this tracking link, which would be good for those that have already been there and done that. So I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. So as you can see, you want to give yourself some time to do this. So with great power comes great responsibility. So you want to definitely make sure that you are scoping this out, but the fruits of your labor will definitely be rewarded in the end result. So I have my click-through tracking, triggering action. What do I want to do next? So I know that somebody has triggered that. So now what I want to do is I want to ask them a question. They've shown interest. I want to learn more. So this is my interest. Where I'm kind of gauging why did they click on that link? So what type of question? Again, so many options. Do I want to ask a yes or no? Am I asking them to just respond with certain information that I want to collect? An open-ended question. I'm just going to do a quick multiple choice question. I generally, like I said, just put 24 hours here. And then again, this is where I'm going to say, what are you most interested in? And you can fine tune this to whatever your actual link was about. So for here, we were talking about events. So here I want to add, are you interested in music? And I'm going to add that as an option. And then my next one may be comedy. And then maybe my next one is games. I used to go to trivia night, and I'm really sad that I can't do that anymore for the last year. So as people are opening back up, I know that we've seen our output of messages kind of kick up for announcing specials and getting people back into kind of social places. So I think that this is really worthwhile to talk about, is what are people interested in and how can I fine tune it for them? So now that I've defined my actual answers, and I always just go ahead and I do a space right after my question. You can see how it's going to respond right here. So if I just want some space in there, I add couple little returns just to space it out so it's not so grouped together. So I'm going to go ahead and continue. And now I have my question. So I know that anybody that's clicked on the link, they are going to then receive a message that says, hey, thank you for clicking on our link, or thank you for your interest. Let's fine tune your choices. So I've asked them. So now I know this is where I want to continue what I'm doing for the answer for music. I know I have to continue to do the one for comedy and for games. So just note that your choices are pretty intricate. So I can wait, I can pause this for a little bit. I can like I said, send a quick message, ask another question. So for those that, and sometimes I really want to break these up by adding them into their own distribution lists. So if I want them to go into a list and I know that these are my music people and I might want to talk to them after this particular event or send them coupons, but now I know they're interested in music. So let me go ahead and give them more information. So I could add them to a distribution list as my next step, or I can simply send them a message, right? So for our purposes, let's go ahead and send them a message. And this may be a coupon. So maybe you want to entice them further and you want to say, show this text or a buy one, get one drink. So here you're rewarding them for taking your little quiz. You're rewarding them and enticing them because once they have one drink, they're going to have another one. So we're going to go ahead and click OK. And then I could maybe want to go ahead and end this. So after they've done this, I've ended this particular interaction. But know that now I have a distribution list that has all my music lovers. I've sent them a coupon. I then can go ahead and interact further with this. And we have some that will go on for, oh my gosh, pages and pages. So you can add on to this. You can save this up as a draft if you want to think about it, create a few test ones, and then activate them and go through them yourself so you can see the results. So just important to remember that there are so many ways that you can utilize this to gain information, to segment your information, and then disseminate information. So just remember for all of your actions, I'm going to go ahead and just end these so we can activate this. And then I'm just going to show you what a report may look like for one. So all of my actions need to be ended at some point. So you need to be very thoughtful. And like I said, some of these you can put this full screen, so it's a lot easier to manage. So I'm going to go ahead and save and activate. So once something is actually activated and we have it out there in the public and it's being utilized, you'll know your triggered contacts and your active contacts. So the difference between these two are those that are coming up for that triggering event or whatever the next triggering event is, and those that are actually on the workflow. So let's go ahead and just look at one really quick, and I'm just going to look at my report. So here you can tell I know what my campaign is, when it starts, what the purpose of this is, and kind of some of my settings. I can look down and see that I have sent, I have one active user in any particular option here. So imagine if you had this going to 200 people, you would actually know what level they are on at any given time. If I had a question and I wanted to see what that reporting looks like, it is going to take me to what that may look like here. So I'm going to look at my Q&A. If I had a valid response, an invalid response, or a no response, it's going to tell you exactly who has answered here. You will also have more detailed reporting if you have yes or no answers or multiple choice. You can export all of your responses. You can view all of your triggered contacts. So there's so much that you can do with your automated campaigns. I think that from here, since we're coming up on 30 minutes, if we have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. But more importantly, I think if you want to learn more about how you can utilize the automated campaigns or workflows in your business, or need to just have a brain session with one of us so that we can help you, we're more than happy to do that. In fact, Jeff, maybe we can send out just a notification to everybody afterwards, and they can go ahead and fill up our calendar if they'd like to, don't you think?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
I'd love to get with some customers and get this put in place.
Anything you think that I didn't go over, Jeff?
No, that was fantastic. I'm sure there's a lot of things that we can both still learn with the automations,
Oh, yeah.
but that was fantastic.
Perfect. And perhaps we'll do another webinar on one that is more intricate and detailed, but I wanted to start with just something to get everybody's ideas flowing on what they could possibly do with their businesses. So this webinar will be up on our YouTube channel. Please go like us on Facebook and Twitter and our YouTube channel. So we can continue to bring you great stuff. So thank you very much, everybody. Have a great day.
Thanks.